All right. So so yesterday I was coming down the street to the studio, and there was a brother who looked like he was probably, I would say, in his mid to early to mid 60s. Okay. And he was sagging. I'm talking about like significantly sagging. And he had that sag walk, because you know when you're trying to sag, you gotta walk in a very specific way to just be able to maintain your pants staying up. And I was like, man, this man is in his 60s trying to sag. Now he might have been younger than that, but he might have been a hard 55 or a hard 57. But he looked like he was clearly in his 60s. And here's the thing, before I even get into my topic for the day, here's the thing. If you old enough to get an AARP card, you can't sag. No. If Humira and all these different insurance companies calling you trying to see if you want to join up for your senior care plan, you can't sag. You off limits. Just real talk. But back to the topic. So the brother was sagging. And it really made me think about just how powerful hip hop is as a culture. That you got a grown man, an older man, sagging. And it brings to mind this mindset, this culture of today, which is what's going on, which is this need to be seen as hard. This trap culture, this thug culture, this hood culture, even people who not in the hood, who trying to rep the hood. Now, the topic comes from, in large part, because of this recent debacle with T.I. and Tiny's son King, right? And I'm not talking about King or their family personally, because I don't know them. I don't know enough about the situation to talk intelligently about it. All right. We don't do gossip. We don't do tea here. So we're not talking about it in that sense. But it brings to mind this epidemic of what I call subdivision thugs. A subdivision thug is a dude who repping hard, who talking about thug life, drug life, trap life. I'm doing this, I'm repping that. If you do this, I'm gonna do this to you. I'm gonna shoot you. I'm gonna pop this. And you living in a subdivision. You live in a cul-de-sac. You live behind in a gated community. You got your mama and daddy got annual dues, subdivision dues that's due, community dues that's due. And you represent something that you're not. Let me just say this. What is wrong with having a nice house? What's wrong with making good grades? What's wrong with having parents who have the means to provide a good lifestyle for you? What is this need to be seen as hard, as tough, as something that you're not? So many young people deal with this today, and it needs to be addressed. Now, again, I don't know about the situation with King and Tiny and T.I., but let me say this to you. No matter what the family dynamic is, no matter what is going on, what this young man is talking about, standing on business, and I came up this way and I came up that way. No, sir. No, you didn't. Let me just say that. No, you didn't. That's not how you came up. But he's not the only one. He's not. A lot of parents today are dealing with children who are representing something that they never did. They don't have to deal with. They represent thug life. They represent hard life. They represent street life, and they never had to deal with it. And even if they are doing it, you don't have to. The reason why I say that is because you're talking to a person who who partially grew up. I don't even claim my whole life wasn't there. Partially, I grew up staying in a project called Yamacraw Village. We moved out when I was about 8 or 9. And we stayed in Yamacraw Village, and Yamacraw Village was a project. Like I never forget a dude named Trash Can. That's what he called himself. That's what the neighborhood called him. Trash Can walked up to me and punched me in my nose on the porch for no reason. I don't know if it was the rite of passage. I don't know if he was trying to get initiated into a gang. I don't know if he just didn't like me, but I was a little kid, probably 7 years old, and he just walked up and punched me in my nose. He was a little bit older than me. Just punched me in the nose for no reason. And my mama came to the door And she was like, you better bust his behind. You better bust his behind. I'm like, huh? I'm looking back. You gonna bust his behind, I'm gonna bust your behind. All right. So now I gotta fight. And I don't even remember how it went, but it didn't go well. My point is saying that's not what I wanted to represent. So when we moved out of the projects, I never went back and tried to rep that. I never did. And wasn't like we moved into a mansion, okay? But we moved from the projects into an apartment complex. Today, a lot of people call that the hood. My point is saying that is when I got into high school and I saw cats who was trying to be this and trying to be that and trying to rep this and rep that, having grew up and seen some of that, I'm like, yeah, bruh. Yeah, that ain't what you are. And I could always smell a dude who faking it, who trying to rep something that he not. I knew cats. I could call the name out right now, which I won't. But I knew cats. Your mama a teacher, your daddy worked for the post office. Y'all live in a nice neighborhood, and you out here running around here, repping hard, talking hard, acting hard, and you not. And even if you are, you don't have to be. What is going on? This ain't nothing new. So the question is today, Subdivision Thugs is the title. But what's this macho versus manhood? Why do men of color, in large part, but not just men of color, because the hip hop culture has spread into all cultures of the world. But why is it that men feel the need, young men in particular, and some old men feel the need to represent this thug culture, this hard mindset, this I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you can't do this, you can't do that? What is the need for that? I have some ideas. I have some thoughts on it, and we're going to talk about it today. All right? So we're talking about it. Bring some young people into the room if you can. Get in the comments. Share this on Facebook. Share this on YouTube. Share this if you watching this on the My Church channel. Call some people and tell them to come in and join the conversation. Listen, family, call your mama, call your daddy, call your auntie, call your cousin, call your uncle, and let them know we're talking about today. Subdivision Thugs on the Akintunde show. Let's go.
Another track, lay production, but no joke, entertainment, let's go.
Akintunde is gonna make you laugh real loud, so come on, scream it out. Akintunde.
One of the best stories that I have in satisfying one of our clients happened just recently. We had a young lady that was did a family reunion for, and then they came back and placed a reorder. Now, when they placed the reorder, we could not get everything done in time. Well, we had to pull a lot of strings, make some things happen, work a little bit late, but it worked out where we were able to get the t-shirts printed and out for delivery. That's the things that we do for our clients, and we want to do that for you as well.
It's easy to become frustrated when ordering branded products and apparel, but P&B Promotionals is here to help ease those frustrations with their over 800,000 promotional products and apparel. Whether screen printed t-shirts, embroidered polo shirts, stadium cups, umbrellas, or mugs, P&B Promotionals has just what you need. Log on to pbpromotionals.com and start your order now. That's pbpromotionals.com, or send an email to info@pbpromotionals.net. info@pbpromotionals.net.
Imprinting the best for less. P&B Promotionals.
Greetings. I am Darrell Presley, owner and operator of Presley Cares Mortuary Services of West Columbia, South Carolina. Our mission here at Presley's is to provide excellent, quality, superior funeral service to all, regardless of economic status, religion, or race, with our society being embedded with a diverse class of people. Our staff here at Presley's pledges to offer only one class of service, and that is superior. So rendering professional services to the families that call upon us is not an option, it's mandatory. Presley Cares Mortuary Services, where we are caring for you and your loved one.
At my church, we help people get better by teaching them how the word works, and we want to make sure there is no excuse not to get the word. It's our goal to make all of our ministries accessible on every smartphone, tablet, PC, and television connected to the internet. So whether you're a man who needs some wisdom, a woman who needs some encouragement, or a couple who needs guidance, the My Church channel has just what you need. Simply search for the My Church channel on Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV, or visit mychurchchannel.org. You can also download the My Church on the Go app from Apple or Google Play App Store. Constantly on the move? Check out the Word at My Church podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Or simply download the Word at My Church skill on your Alexa-enabled device. But whatever you do, make sure to stay connected. See you soon.
Stop walking in front of the prophet.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Listen, y'all. We got a busy schedule coming up this week, coming up this month. December the 8th, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at Linked Up Church, Love and Laughter Tour. On December the 9th, I'm at New Foundation Outreach Ministries in Orangeburg, South Carolina. That is a fundraiser, so go and get more information about that. Coming up on December the 10th, Sunday, 2 services. Sunday morning, I'll be in Tampa, Florida at Revealing Truth Ministries in Tampa, Florida, 2 services. Then on Sunday afternoon, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at Chapel Hill Church. December 13th, Sumter, South Carolina, Sumter County Schools Collective. I'll be with them. And December 14th, Sumter, South Carolina, Healthy Laughter to You, special show there. December 16th, I'm in Mullins, South Carolina for the Bridge Experience in Mullins, South Carolina. Coming up December the 31st, I'm in Slidell, Louisiana. All right, Living the Word Christian Center. And bringing in New Year's Eve, bringing in the new year. And that'll be on the My Church channel. We'll get you more information about that as we get closer to the date. All right, family, listen, we got a lot of stuff going on right now. Y'all pray for us as we go and grow and get things done. All right, let's get this show started, though, fam. We got a good topic today. We're talking about it, subdivision thugs, and it's this trend that it's consistently happening where you got a lot of young people who are trying to rep something that they are not. And it's quite pervasive in African American culture, in young male culture, in hip hop culture. There's a lot of that going on. The question becomes is why? What's the why? Why is this happening? Why do we feel the need to be something that we're not? We're going to get into that topic today. Ronnie Grant is going to hop in a little bit later. Of course, Ronnie Grant, my road manager. He is been a producer, partner on various projects. Currently on just produced with us on the Healthy Laughter Comedy Special, which will be coming out in December in 2024. So, but I want to talk to Ronnie about that because Ronnie, has been a DJ from Charleston, has some experience and learned some things, experienced some things, negative and some positive things. And we're going to talk about that. So Ronnie will be joining us in just a little while. But let's get the show started. Let's get him on the screen. Let's get Pastor Lewis Tucker and Donna J. What's up, family? Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
What it do? What it do? Can I hear Pastor Tuck? Let me see. Pastor Tuck, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. What's going on, fam? How y'all doing? Y'all good?
Doing all right, sir. Doing all right.
Awesome. Awesome-tastic. So, this is a topic that is near and dear to our hearts, I believe, as men, who want the best for our community, want the best for young men, want the best for our daughters even, and it's not just and I want to say this too. I call it subdivision thugs, and I was talking about it from the male perspective because I think, of course, men are leaders, and the largest move towards this whole culture has started and been primarily through men. But now you got this whole sexy red Megan Thee Stallion like ratchet culture, which is, to me, thug culture and ratchet culture is the same thing. So even with that, That's still the same thing. There's a lot of young ladies who repping this ratchet culture who don't have to, who talking like they ghetto and again and talking like they hood, but again living in the 5,000 square foot house. So it's not just the men that are dealing with this right here.
Wow.
Yeah. This stuff is gone. It's at epidemic levels, as they would say. It has gone way off the rails. With people trying to be something that they not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's crazy because if you don't even recognize that this and a lot of it is come from the music. We know it's all media, arts, and entertainment, but the music has been a primary source of a lot of this stuff.
Right.
The music, the videos.
Right.
And the people that you're listening to, they use music as a means to get out of this life.
Yeah.
But you're taking it as something like this is something glorious. And like I said, the very people who singing about this stuff, follow them home.
Yeah.
They don't live there.
Yeah. Not at all.
Wow.
Not at all. Not these rappers, whether it's the Baby, whether it's 2 Chainz, whoever the new hot rapper is right now. These cats ain't living in the hood.
Let's use somebody real simple. Like you said, Rick Ross. Like you said, Rick Ross ain't no thug.
No.
Like you said he got a college degree, was a prison warden.
Yeah.
But everybody always want to put him out there like, oh yeah, that's the boss.
Yeah.
And look at his house.
Yeah.
He don't live nowhere near no hood.
Yeah. He live in Evander Holyfield old house.
They rented his house for the Palace in Zamunda for Coming in America Part 2.
Exactly. That was Rick Ross's house.
But you walking around here trying to act like something he putting on a record. Come on, stop it.
Yeah. And but here's the whole thing though. And this has always been my thing. When we was coming up, we didn't even let dudes front like that.
No.
It's like, bro.
That's a good way to get hurt.
Yeah. It's like, man, we know, there's people that would fake it and then you find out later on. And then you're like, oh, that's where you live at? Oh. But I mean, today it seemed to be accepted. It seemed to be acceptable for you to rep something that you're not. And one thing I want to talk about, I want to get to Donna's list, and because we do have a structure of the way we want to follow the conversation. But I do want to say this: I was watching again my man D1, who is a rapper who is calling a lot of folks to carpet, even Rick Ross, even Jim Jones, and some others. And it really has sparked a healthy conversation, I believe, that's creating a dialogue that really allows people to consider the value and I should say the truth and the weight that this mindset, this culture causes in the community. But something that he said as a former high school teacher, he said that he saw that young people were ashamed to make good grades. So he was talking about how he said he was a teacher. He said he was seeing that the young people in his class were ashamed of the fact that they had a 90 or 100 on a test, but they was rather rep and be excited about the fact that or proud of the fact that somebody got arrested or somebody made an F. And he said kids were literally hiding that. And of course, it's nothing new, but that's a part of the conversation, a part of the culture. And Donna, this is not the girls in many cases. Sometimes it's just as bad as the young men.
Yep, I agree with that. I'll even say when I was coming up, it was not really cool for you to make good grades.
Really?
And I can remember like being in the 7th grade and they had seventh grade 1 and 7th grade 2, and then they had 7th grade the regular. So
right.
And I got to be in 7-1 because my mother made sure that I made good grades. But however, the kids that you want to fit in with your peers,
right,
and they would I would get ragged sometime for being in that class.
Wow.
And
really,
because it was a lot of Caucasian kids in that class.
Okay.
And my mother tried to make sure that we were always, well dressed and, whatever she had, my parents had. And some of the other kids, that maybe not has been as, I won't say fortunate because that's not the word.
Right.
But it's had parents that stuck in there and they did the best that they could do.
Right.
Let's put it like that. They did the best they could do.
Right.
But they, I was constantly, called high yellow, think I want to be a white girl, all that,
yeah.
And, and I just wanted to fit in.
Right.
I just wanted to fit in.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it is that culture that's saying that you're not good enough.
So
I wasn't black enough to be black, and I wasn't black enough to, I was too black to be white.
So but that's interesting though, because I see in my mind, I thought that I didn't think that was the norm.
Yes.
You're me and you about 10 years apart. So I thought that wasn't the norm in the era that you grew up in. I thought folks were more proud of their accomplishments. So you're saying it was the same thing back then?
Right. It was the same thing back then because they didn't let you, it's cliquish, it's cliquish, and you couldn't get in those cliques.
Yeah.
And plus we weren't from there.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of family structure already there.
Right.
And that has a lot to do with it too, because it is what people determine as family. It's family. You gotta break in there to get to be part of the family. And that's very difficult for some kids growing up. That's very difficult. And I can see how this society has really embraced that.
Yeah.
You gotta do whatever you gotta do. You gotta do what we say in order for you to fit in. And then that becomes a whole thing in society, doing what society says in order to fit in.
And see, that point right there, takes me. I want to take it to the conversation, to the genesis of the conversation, the spark of the conversation today. And there's a couple other things we're going to discuss today. Two other things we're going to discuss today is rapper Daddy Yankee, who is now living for Christ. So he's turning away from his Latino reggaeton career and living for Christ. Plus a little bit later on we're gonna talk about porch pirates, because y'all still out here stealing packages off people's porch. Another conversation that's for later on. Really, y'all? Really?
At Christmas time.
Let's just make sure that porch is not 121.
Yeah, I hate y'all. He get lit up, but no,
dance! I tell you, dance. Do the Michael Jackson.
But this whole conversation, a bit of it came from this talk around King, that's T.I.'s son and Tiny's son, and his acting out at the game with his parents. Again, the whole conversation of, and again, I don't want to go too far about discussing their dynamics so much, same way we did with the whole Will Smith issue. We don't know all the details. Because of that, we don't do tea and we don't do gossip and we don't just make just broad sweeping assertions about people's life.
Right.
But I will say this, as a young man trying to rep this thug culture, when you literally are in a celebrity box at a professional football game, and you didn't do anything to earn that status. You are there with your parents.
Yeah, you there because of T.I.
Right.
They won't let you in that box.
Exactly.
That's right.
You have no reason to be acting like anything else but grateful, thankful. I'm here with my parents.
Let's be honest. Yeah. The only reason we know who you are is because of your daddy.
Of course.
That's
Yes. Not because your rap career.
That's right.
Exactly. You would not. Your rap career would be rapping presidents this time of year at Macy's.
Exactly.
Hey. In the famous words,
that would be the extent of your rap career. It's not because of your talent.
It.
Exactly.
Yep. In the famous words of Cliff Huxtable, we're rich, not you.
Exactly.
And so but to the point that Donna was just talking about, and you talk about the genesis of it all, and you look at whether it's King or this whole thing. What all this really comes down to is this society, especially this Western society we live in.
Yeah.
We have gone way away from the foundational principles of how we raise our children.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because of that, there's something about instilling who you are in your children. There was a plan God had from the beginning of how we were to raise our kids.
Yeah.
And the reason is because you define in them an identity before the world tries to give it to them. And what comes from this is this lack of identity, this low self-esteem, because esteem is simply establishing of a value.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you esteem something, how you esteem something is establishing a value.
Yeah.
And you can't establish a value for something you didn't pay for, something you didn't own.
Yeah.
And so we always talk about self-esteem. Well, first of all, you don't own yourself, and you didn't create yourself.
Yeah.
So there should not be anything as far as self-esteem is a misnomer in the first place. You should only have God esteem.
Yeah.
But if nobody taught you who God said you are and who God created you to be, then now you're trying to value yourself because you think you have that right because you didn't create yourself and you don't own yourself.
Yeah.
And so anytime you try to value something that you didn't create and you don't own, you're going to undervalue it.
Wow.
See, if you try to tell me you want to buy my car and you're going to give me a price, you're going to undervalue it because it doesn't belong to you.
Right.
So you're going to tell me what you think it's worth, but you don't know what it's worth because it doesn't belong to you.
That's right.
And so it's the same thing with our self-esteem. And when we have that self-esteem issue, now, like Donna said, now we're trying to fit into somebody else. We're trying to measure up to somebody else's mold.
Right.
Because I was listening to Donna's testimony when she was talking about, being ashamed of your grades and being in this grade level.
Yeah.
These are issues I never experienced in my life.
Interesting.
Never in my life. Not at any age level.
Wow.
I've never dealt with any of that stuff.
Wow.
And I mean, like I'm telling you, I remember in fourth grade, we had a teacher that it was either third or fourth grade, but we had an English teacher, and at that time it was fourth grade. They would put you in reading groups based on how you read. In class.
Yeah.
And so, you would read in class, and then, if you read, you had stumble across words, and when you read, she had the number one reading group, or then you'd be in the second group or the third group or whatever.
Right.
This teacher literally called the third group the dummy reading group.
Oh.
That's literally what she called us, the dummy reading group.
Jesus.
And so I was in the dummy reading group.
Wow.
Because I stumbled when I read out loud.
Good Lord.
And so she called me. I was in the dummy reading group. And I remember writing a paper on this in college. And one of my professors called me a liar. And I said, don't call me no liar. You mean you're going to have a problem.
Jesus.
But I remember that. And to this day, I still don't like reading. I won't read anything if it ain't got something to do with the Bible or if it's something that I actually need. I don't read for pleasure. That's not something I do because of that. That's something that stigmatized me.
Right.
Wow.
But like I said, she called us the dummy reading group. And, as kids, everybody used to, poke fun. It never really made me feel like I had to change my behavior. It upset me because I knew I wasn't dumb.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
The very next year was the first year that they established the gifted and talented test, where they tested you to see where your IQ and all that was. I had the highest test in 5 counties.
Wow.
From the dummy reading group to the highest test score in 5 counties.
And see, the reason why I stumbled reading aloud was because my brain moved so fast.
Right.
My mouth couldn't keep up. I was reading 3 lines down on the page, and I'm trying to read out loud because my brain is processing fast.
Wow.
I'm trying to catch up. And see, Kaya had the same issues when she was young, and I had to teach her that our brain works different.
Right.
Because how smart we are.
Right.
It's stuff that so many people don't even understand. But I never felt I had to try to fit in with anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've always been a non-conformist. When everybody else would do something, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and the thing of it is because I want to talk about that when we come back, about this need oftentimes for young men. I believe all men have to have something that they put their hands to. And all men in most cases follow some type of culture. That may be the sports culture, that may be the neighborhood culture. Ultimately, it should be the culture of your house. But there are effects, even if you got a strong culture in your house. There's gonna always be effects of the community. Always gonna be effects of the school that you grew up in. But if you're in sports, there's a culture that may come along with that. If you do karate, there's a culture that comes along with that. Whatever your environment, whatever your task, whatever your skill is, whatever your sport is, whatever your hobby is, that'll become a part of your culture. That said, let's get into that. So I really want to talk about it because Pastor Tuck, what you're talking about is there was a culture that you had to either live outside of or live within, and that becomes your culture is the norms and values of a society, of a community. That's what it is. When we come, we're gonna get into that. But before we go, listen, let me tell you something. Looking for promotional products and apparel? Look no further than P&B Promotionals. Place your brand and logo on just about anything with P&B Promotionals. Over 800,000 products, hats, backpacks, bottles, cups, drinking glasses, lip balm, chewing gum, candy, and of course, t-shirts. P&B Promotionals is a nationally certified advertising institution. Log on to pbpromotionals.com and start your order now. That's pbpromotionals.com. Imprinting the best for less. P&B Promotionals. Hey family, don't y'all move. Call your mama, call your daddy, call your auntie and your uncle, and let them all know that the Akintunde show is on right now.
One of the best stories that I have in satisfying one of our clients happened just recently. We had a young lady that did a family reunion for, and then they came back and placed a reorder. Now, when they placed the reorder, we could not get everything done in time. Well, we had to pull a lot of strings, make some things happen, work a little bit late, but it worked out where we were able to get the t-shirts printed and out for delivery. That's the things that we do for our clients, and we want to do that for you as well.
It's easy to become frustrated when ordering branded products and apparel, but P&B Promotionals is here to help ease those frustrations with their over 800,000 promotional products and apparel. Whether screen printed t-shirts, embroidered polo shirts, stadium cups, umbrellas, or mugs, P&B Promotionals has just what you need. Log on to pbpromotionals.com and start your order now. That's pbpromotionals.com, or send an email to info@pbpromotionals.net. info@pbpromotionals.net.
Imprinting the best for less. P&B Promotionals.
At my church, we help people get better by teaching them how the word works. And we want to make sure there is no excuse not to get the word. It's our goal to make all of our ministries accessible on every smartphone, tablet, PC, and television connected to the internet. So whether you're a man who needs some wisdom, a woman who needs some encouragement, or a couple who needs guidance, the My Church channel has just what you need. Simply search for the My Church channel on Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV, or visit mychurchchannel.org. You can also download the My Church on the Go app from Apple or Google Play App Store. Constantly on the move? Check out the Word at My Church podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Or simply download the Word at My Church skill on your Alexa-enabled device. But whatever you do, make sure to stay connected. See you soon.
Greetings. I am Darrell Presley, owner and operator of Presley Cares Mortuary Services of West Columbia, South Carolina. Our mission here at Presley's is to provide excellent, quality, superior funeral service to all, regardless of economic status, religion, or race, with our society being embedded with a diverse class of people. Our staff here at Presley's pledges to offer only one class of service, and that is superior. So rendering professional services to the families that call upon us is not an option, it's mandatory. Presley Cares Mortuary Services, where we are caring for you and your loved one.
One of the best stories that I have in satisfying one of our clients happened just recently. We had a young lady that was did a family reunion for, and then they came back and placed a reorder. Now, when they placed the reorder, we could not get everything done in time. Well, we had to pull a lot of strings, make some things happen, work a little bit late, but it worked out where we were able to get the t-shirts printed and out for delivery. That's the things that we do for our clients, and we want to do that for you as well.
It's easy to become frustrated when ordering branded products and apparel, but P&B Promotionals is here to help ease those frustrations with their over 800,000 promotional products and apparel. Whether screen printed t-shirts, embroidered polo shirts, stadium cups, umbrellas, or mugs, P&B Promotionals has just what you need. Log on to pbpromotionals.com and start your order now. That's pbpromotionals.com, or send an email to info@pbpromotionals.net. info@pbpromotionals.net.
Imprinting the best for less. P&B Promotionals.
Stop walking in front of the prophet.
Oh, yeah.
All right, family. Mary Kay Cosmetics is celebrating 60 years in business and still going strong with quality skincare and beauty products, plus career opportunities with flexibility. Listen, you know about Mary Kay, you know this is all true. Look, call my sister Marcelle Robinson McBride at 803-406-0489 to set up a free skincare session or to learn more about the career opportunities. Again, call Marcelle Robinson McBride at 803-406-0489 to set up a free skincare session and learn more about their career opportunities. Shout out to Mary Kay, 60 years in business. That's amazing, y'all. Shout out to the pink Cadillacs, all the pink Cadillacs out there. Don, do you know anybody who has a pink Cadillac, like a Mary Kay Cadillac?
I don't. I used to, but I don't anymore.
Okay.
Because I was doing Mary Kay at one time back in the day.
Really? Mm-hmm. Did a lot of people have them pink Cadillacs?
Not a lot of people.
I know
Not that I knew.
Pastor Tucker was one time one of the top Mary Kay salespeople in Virginia and had a pink Cadillac, and I want to shout him out for that.
I ain't do Mary Kay. I was Avon. I'm from the hood.
Wow.
Listen, y'all, tomorrow I'm dropping it'll go on sale. We have a brand new Christmas bundle. So you'll be able to get my Akintunde Because I Said So comedy special, the Whole Truth comedy special, the Heavy Hitters, and my Best of comedy album, all for one low price of $22.50. All right. Wow. So that you can get all of that, and it's a digital download, so you can utilize this as a great Christmas gift. On the road this weekend, we'll have the actual Christmas cards. So you can order one of those, or you can get the digital card you can go to somebody's email, and then they'll be able to just open it up and enjoy those comedy specials. The full bundle will be available on December the 18th. They go on sale tomorrow. So what a great Christmas gift for only $22. Very unique Christmas gift. Again, it's my first ever Christmas comedy bundle, digital bundle. We've done a bundle before, a physical bundle, but never a digital bundle. So this is the first time we're doing it. I'm excited about it. We got all this comedy content. I said, man, let me put it out there. Let me let folks have it and enjoy it, and for a wonderful price. So $22.50, the Whole Truth, Because I Said So, the Heavy Hitters, and the Best of comedy album. So that's coming up. That goes on sale tomorrow. So y'all make sure y'all check social media and check the website for that. Again, we're talking about this great topic today. Pastor Suck started a good dialogue just a little while ago about, and I think education is a big part of this whole process. And again, I got Ronnie coming up in a little bit. I want to get his perspective on it as a man who had who had to overcome some challenges in life, right? And who was able to overcome those challenges and go to college and turn a lot of things around in his life. I want to get his perspective on when you see young men trying to rep something, oftentimes that they're not. Again, the subdivision thug is at epidemic levels, and I'm calling it that. I'm being somewhat humorous and tongue in cheek when I say that, but that's really what it is. A lot of cats represent something that they're not.
A lot of that even too has to do with that influence too, because like I told you, even in that culture where we had in high school, it was not a thing that you were ashamed to make good grades. Like saying when I graduated from high school, I was 5th out of my senior class. In the top 5, it was 2 of us.
Right.
Like I said, in the top 10, it was probably at least 4 of us. Like I said, as far as blacks go, like I said, down to talk about. Like I said, but like I said, in our honors or AP classes, I guess as they would call them now.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, it was not, mostly white people in that class. It was a bunch of us, and it was like, and nobody looked at us any different because all of us hung together. You know what I'm saying? We were all in the same groups. Whether we played football or basketball. You know what I'm saying? Or like everybody was everybody. It was about who you were.
Yeah.
Versus whether or not you made good grades. Like I said, and so I was one of the smartest in the school, but I was also one of the most popular. You see what I'm saying? So it's like none of that.
How much of that? How much of that is attributed to the culture of the community or the school? Like, and again, I know Petersburg. Petersburg ain't the Atlanta suburbs, but
see, I didn't go to school. I didn't go to school in Petersburg. I went to school out in the county.
So how much of your acceptance of you making good grades and still not having to feel as though, that you gotta somehow, rep this or rep that for your manhood, how much of that can be attributed to the fact that the culture was different in that area? Would that have been the same thing if you was going to school in the hood in Petersburg?
I don't think it would have been. And I mean, I never tried to switch up when I was staying with my cousins. You see what I'm saying? It was like I was who I was wherever I was.
Got it. Interesting enough. Carol Chisholm said, I was always proud of making good grades. Or maybe I just didn't care what others said because excellence was expected and instilled in me from day one by my parents.
That's right, that's right, Carol.
Yeah, and and I wonder about that too. I wonder, it's definitely different to a degree for girls though. Rather than boys, because I hear it's a lot of talk right now, a lot of repping. I think 2 Chainz was an honor roll student.
Yeah, 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz real smart.
But there was an article that someone asked him. They were talking about him having multiple children. And he was proud to talk about that. Multiple children, multiple women. He was proud to talk about that. But when it came to him talking about his grades and him being an honor roll student in school, he shunned away from that conversation in the interview. And the interviewee thought that was interesting that he didn't want to discuss that. And it would have.
It's his brand.
Right.
It's his brand.
But that's crazy though. Yeah, you mean your brand?
Because this brand out here now, you're selling hood, you selling trap, you selling ratchet. So that doesn't play well. He can't just go tell nobody that. I mean, the fact of the matter is, somebody was saying this the other day. It was actually on what's your boy name? DC Young Fly. They get that. Kevin Hart done brought back the Hollywood Squares in the name of it. It's a different name now. But Kevin Hart, I guess he done brought that franchise and done brought it back. Yeah, it's something else. Yeah. But DC Young Fly is the host of it, and I was watching it the other day, and one of the questions was talking about Snoop. Snoop has 147 IQ.
Interesting. Wow. Interesting. Never heard that before.
Nobody knows that.
Wow.
Snoop who been out here cripping and smoke more bud than Bob Marley.
Yeah.
And like you said, but he got 147 IQ. Nobody talks about that.
Wow. And that's crazy to me. That how do we get so far? How do we slide so far down the line that the culture, hip hop culture, frowns upon someone making good grades? Hip hop culture frowns upon someone being an exceptional student.
And watch this. This is the crazy thing because you were talking about me being in Petersburg versus me being in school. Watch this. Like I told you, I spent all of my summers down in Petersburg with my cousins. Growing up down there, so that's where I did my forming of me being, like I said, being a man running streets down there. And so in college, I'm on a full scholarship, but I'm still running the street doing all the stuff that I was doing.
Yeah.
And that came a time where, like I said, I mean, I'm out here and we done had some stuff pop off, and something happened, and I'm ready to go and get in some trouble.
Wow.
And it was one of the OGs in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he had already been in twice.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Third third strike material. You understand?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And he was like, man.
Yeah.
He's no. He said, I need you to go back on campus.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a matter of fact, don't even come back around here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's see, cause you got something we ain't got.
Right. Right.
He said, you need us, you call us, we come over there.
Right.
He said, well, don't you come back around here no more.
Right. Right. And that's what the black community does when someone who's in the community sees something, a value or a future, a hope in somebody else. But today, I don't know, maybe that's the same way on the ground. I believe it is. But definitely in the broader culture, that's not celebrated. That's not taught.
They celebrate that in athletics.
Yeah.
They'll push him if they know, he can play ball.
But see, that's but again, see, hood dreams in football, sports, that's one thing. Basketball, track, whatever, that's one thing. But hood dreams, when it comes to academics, there's not the same value on it.
No, they don't value it the same.
That's right.
Because the world has put this stigma around it, like that's a weakness.
Exactly.
Kimberly Morgan said, I love making good grades and doing well in school. I never tried to act hard or hood. My brothers, on the other hand, did try to act hood. Interesting. I heard about that a few weeks ago, Pastor Tuck, and it doesn't surprise me. I guess she's talking about Snoop Dogg. Okay, so interesting. Let me. I think Kimberly's comment really kind of sticks a pin in a part of what we're talking about here. So of course, this is a young woman. So she was a girl, okay, making good grades. All right. So she said, I love making good grades and doing well in school. I never tried to act hard or hood. My brothers, on the other hand, did try to act hard, hood. So what I'm hearing, Kimberly, is your brothers grew up in the same house as you did, with the same mom and daddy, were afforded the same opportunities as you did. But on the other hand, and I met your daddy, okay? Good man, clearly took care of his family, right? So in other words, your brothers had some opportunities, had an environment that, quite frankly, I didn't have, okay? My daddy wasn't in the house with me, right? So your brothers had that, but they felt the need to rep the hood lifestyle, the hood mentality, the hood perspective. Kimberly, if you can drop in the comments, how did they do that? And if you don't, that's fine. But if you know, what were their reasons for doing that? What were their personal reasons for doing that? Here's why I asked that question. Because for me, even though I my daddy wasn't there, even though I partially did grow up in the hood, and even though my mama moved us out of Yamacraw Village, my grandma still lived there, so we still spent a lot of time there. But I never was trying to be that. That was never attractive to me. I was never trying to be hard. Now, maybe that's because my mama would fire my behind up. I don't know, or maybe she taught me a whole lot and created a self-esteem. I will say that she did create a self-esteem for me. She created a self-esteem for me that was not based on any type of hood or culture or exterior culture. Because for me, and I'm stumbling into something here as I'm thinking about it. One thing for us, because we were raised Muslim, there was a level of individuality that we had to walk in, because we were already separate from what else was going on, right. The normalities of things. But I definitely want to really drill down on that in terms of why, Kimberly, you feel as though your brothers, Pastor, go ahead, and then Donna come in, and then we'll read her comments.
You said two things. One, you talked about that individuality goes back to that self-esteem thing that I just talked about, because you had an identity. So it was hard for somebody to impress an identity upon you. And that's something that a lot of young people today don't have. Even this thing, when you hear people always talking about going to college and finding yourself, how you gonna go find yourself? you supposed to know who you. That's where America is failing, because your job as a parent is to define and give character to your kids. You're like, well, I want them to discover themselves. No, they are a blank piece of paper, and if you don't write on them, the world will. And that's what you're doing. You're allowing the world to write on your children.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting back going, oh my God, where did that come from?
Yeah.
It came from the public schools. It came from the TV. It came from the music. It came from all of this stuff that you exposed them to when they were kids.
Yeah.
And that's why I told you, everybody always looks at me like I'm crazy and look at my kids and they're like, wow, like I hit the kid lottery. No, I obeyed God, did what God told me. And so I developed a character in them, and they always thought my kids were going to be sheltered. But it's like, no, my kids are some of the most savvy kids in the world, because I didn't shelter them. I sheltered them while they were forming.
Let me say this to you, but let me that whole shelter kids thing. My kids when they were coming up, they would say the same thing, or particularly my oldest son would kind of mention that whole shelter thing. And then several of my children, after they got older, they realized just how many things we kept them away from, and then they were thankful of that as well. So, you know, if you're a parent and you're dealing with your children, or somebody else saying that your children are sheltered, let me tell you something. Your children are not supposed to be exposed to everything.
That's right.
Listen, this is not viruses. It's not like you need to be exposed to everything so you can build up an immuneness to it. No, this is life and culture. There's certain things your children don't need to be around.
Right.
Certain type of music. Let me tell y'all something right now. All this little cute stuff, and all these little TikTok videos, these little get kids and these girls, these sexual dancers and these little boys, these little thug dancers, all that stuff, you might think it's cute when they 3-4, but that scales very quickly. 12, 16, it ain't cute when they in your face acting ratchet, and you celebrated that nonsense early on.
Right.
Watch this, Hawk. The other day when y'all heard them guys out there making all that noise doing construction, they were fixing my front porch, and what they did, they poured concrete across the top of it, and for a day you couldn't go outside.
Wow.
Because that concrete had to form.
Wow.
Kids are like that.
Wow.
See, because until that stuff, until it's set, it's impressionable.
Daily I shall.
Jesus.
But once it's stable, you can put anything on.
Jesus.
It can stand up under any kind of pressure. And it's not going to change its shape.
That's good.
It's not going to conform to anything because it's already been shaped. And that's why you shelter your kids when they're young, so that they can take the shape that they're supposed to, so that no matter what environment you put them in, they are not formed to something else that they're not supposed to.
Jesus.
Because they're impressionable when they're young.
Yeah.
They have not formed yet. But that's the problem in America. We don't seem to understand that. We let everything walk on our kids. Then you wonder why they got footprints in their forehead, because you let everything trample upon your children, and you have not been a good steward over their lives. God, and that's where this problem is coming from. We don't understand that. And see, this whole thing of acting hard, and part of it is survival. I understand. If you grew up in a certain environment, and to a certain degree, if you come off soft, you pray.
Yeah.
Right.
That's just that simple.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I can understand it, because I had a cousin, and his family was more affluent than ours, because my dad lost his job when I was 13.
Yeah.
So his dad worked at a factory. They had more money, and so he was a lot younger than me, and so they spoiled him because he was the only child. And he had name brand jeans, and I mean everything. And so he started doing stuff that he had never seen before. He started, and I remember I was in college at the time. And I mean, like I said, and I was out in them streets hard. Nobody knew what I was doing. And I remember getting a call about him from another one of our cousins, telling me that he caught him because somebody told him that he was out here trying to sell some weed.
Wow.
And so he had found out, and he had got in trouble for it. So I came to the house one day, and I asked his mama where he was. She said he was back in the room. So his mama ain't know. And so I walked back up in the room. I closed the door, walked up in there with him, and I pulled out what I had with me and put it up to his throat. I said, "You want to play some games, huh?"
Wow.
I said, "You want to be out in the street, huh?" And so he's sitting back there crying. I'm like, I said, "No, what you crying for? You hard."
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, "You a hustler."
Yeah.
I said, "You about that life."
Yeah.
I said, "Let me hear something else about you out here in these streets trying to play like you hard."
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you what you about.
Yeah. So many of us had somebody we knew like that, where you had to jack them up. Somebody you had to really pull their card, as we would say.
Yeah.
Somebody pull your card and they let you know what you're not, let you know what you repping you ain't never been. And I think that's something that, again, trying to get away from this mentality, and it's so pervasive. It's so much in terms of the culture that our children have to contend with, and the effects of it, whether you in the hood or whether you in the suburbs. It's heavy, it's weighty. And we got to really address that on a holistic level and somehow figure out how to change this culture. And that's why I love what D want to do. I'm coming to you, Jaleel. But we have to change the culture. Go ahead, Pastor, real quick.
But you know what he said to me while he was sitting there crying? He said because they was calling him soft.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
They was calling him soft because his mom and him had gave him everything because of how he dressed, because all that, because people were calling him soft, and that's what he was worried about. Because what other people were saying about him. Because once again, if you don't know who you are, now you got to conform to somebody else.
Oh, wow. See, that goes right along with Kimberly's comment. She said, I think black men have this stigma that they should be hard and tough and show no fear. It's sad because media makes it harder to see men having a softer side without thinking they're gay at times. That's and that goes right into this mindset of somehow if I'm not representing this, I'm not talking this way, then I'm less than, I'm weaker. I mean, all of that is confusion. All of that's a trick.
And that's where this whole king thing came out of, because people saw him grew up on TV in a mansion, but he's trying to be in an industry where everybody's supposed to come out of the projects.
Yeah.
And so now he's trying to validate himself by saying, "Nah, that ain't me.
Yeah.
Nah, that ain't me. That was
stand
just
on
what y'all
business."
saw. I grew up over here with my grandma in the hood."
But is this hood stuff, is that like the pinnacle of black masculinity?
Okay, that's a phenomenal question.
Yes,
because
that's an awesome question.
That's okay. I mean, and as I'm pondering that, I was very quickly ready to say no, but when I really think about it, on some level, today, it is me, particularly amongst younger men. That does seem to be the pinnacle of black male masculinity. Even if you look at the prison culture, I mean, there was a time where somebody went to jail. They hid that. Nobody want. Oh man, yeah, keep that down. Oh, don't do them like that. Don't put it out there. Oh, but today it's like a badge of honor to just say I came home. Today I just did a bid. That boy did 10. He stood 10 toes down. He did 5 years. He ain't talk. He ain't say nothing. I mean, we celebrate that type of stuff in culture today.
And I guess the question is, Donna, when you ask that question, are you asking that to men? Or are you asking that to boys?
Well, oh yeah, yep.
Hey,
how about in both groups? Because boys become men. So if they're learning it at a lower level,
if you're asking a real man that question. As I was talking to somebody the other day, I think I was talking to Jaleel the other day. I said the definition of manhood is responsibility.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. See, that's okay. But Donna, clarify what you were saying, and then I'm coming to Jaleel. I'm coming to some more comments. Y'all on fire in these comments, and I still got to check Facebook. Somebody check Facebook too as well. Go ahead, Donna. What you were saying though?
Well, I was just asking the question because what is defining manhood and masculinity now? Like you were just saying, when they're in prison, that is when they come out of prison, it's like, yeah, I just did a bid. But what did you do while you were in there? Now I have a friend who went to jail for murder.
Okay.
He got out.
Okay.
But while he was in there, he was young. He was like 17, and he'll say it too. It was a drug deal going bad.
Okay.
And a guy ended up getting killed. He
Okay.
ended up taking somebody's life.
Okay.
And he, while he was in there, he said that he was not literate. Now he could read words, But the definition like of literacy, as far as he's saying, is that you have to understand what you're
Comprehension.
reading.
Yeah.
So he said that he could read the words, but he was illiterate. So he made himself literate by going through courses and whatnot that they have. He started reading. He started reading, and then he's out now, but he's promoting reading. To people, even in prison and out of prison. He is promoting reading and literacy.
Right.
So I find that we're illiterate in a lot, society period is illiterate in a lot of things, not just book learning, but finances, health. We're illiterate in a lot of things.
But and I'm coming to Jaleel. I know Jaleel sent me, wants to say something. But let me say this. That's why the broader conversation about the music and the culture is so important, because guess what? The question that you ask, it's not just the men, it's the girls too. It's the women too.
Yeah, exactly.
How many women say little stuff like this right here, like I love me a little thug dude, and dude with his pants sagging and this right here, and I'm not talking so much about style, but style is a part of it. But a dude who doesn't sag, who doesn't wear his hair a certain way, who doesn't wear a certain type of clothing, who doesn't talk a certain way, that guy is called a cornball. Right. That guy is called a nerd. Right. That guy is called, and oftentimes looked at as uncool. So it's not just the girls and boys, young men in particular, will gravitate to what's gonna get him a female.
That's right.
So and that's really that's something that has not changed
over time.
Over time.
This is the thing most young men don't realize. It's not the hood thing. It's not the trap thing.
Go ahead.
It's not that. It's called confidence. Strength.
Yes.
And responsibility. That's masculinity.
Come on, sir. Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
And that's why confidence, strength, and responsibility. And that's why I talked about the esteem thing. Yeah. When you know who you are, like you said, I could be making hundreds on all the tests. That's why ain't nobody ever questioned me. Like I said, and because I walked around, I'm like, step to me if you want to.
Yeah.
I ain't got to be sagging my pants, walking around looking crazy. I ain't got to talk crazy.
Yeah.
I could be an English major. Yeah. And like you said, and handling my business, walking around. Watch this. I carried a briefcase from 4th grade.
God, dog. A briefcase in 4th grade. Wow.
I carried a briefcase from 4th grade to 12th grade.
But there are women out here, because we're talking about women too. Women out here who are accepting the so-called thug that is not really confident, just cocky.
Yeah.
Not doing anything. We talked about circus lions.
Yeah.
And women are accepting them.
Yeah.
And so then that puts them thinking that, okay, so this how I'm going to get a woman. This is it right here. Yeah. And they don't have to change. They don't feel like they have to change. They don't feel like they have to get good grades. They don't feel like they have to do anything, because women are accepting them right where they are.
Yeah. You're 100% right. Jaleel, come on, hop in the conversation.
Come on, Big Daddy.
Oh Lord.
You didn't have that music. You didn't have that music.
I gotta get that Big Daddy.
Gotta get his theme music. Gotta get him some theme music.
And he not on camera. And he don't have his camera.
No, I do have my camera on.
Okay. Put the camera on, Jaleel. We want to see when you have this conversation.
Oh, okay. Well, give me a second here.
Excuse me.
Big Daddy.
I've been holding that call for a minute.
Big Daddy.
Why you? There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's it going?
We good.
What's up, Big Daddy?
I'm all right.
What's on your mind? What's your thoughts, Jaleel?
I'm enjoying the conversation. I was just listening and ruminating, and I didn't grow up a thug. I mean, I didn't grow up, really in the hood. I grew up in the suburbs. Never really had an issue with that. I was always, even when we went down to Savannah for holidays, I wouldn't even let us go to certain areas. I mean, one time Mom drove us someplace to visit family, but she wouldn't let us inside. We were teenagers then, but she just wouldn't let us inside. So it's not like we ever had, we never really had a positive, opinion of it, either because
Or exposure to it.
or exposure to it beyond media and TV. But in this whole conversation, I think for me personally, the issue for me is that men are trained from a young age to prove themselves. Either by the parents, by their fathers, by TV, by media, by their friends, by everyone. We're either taught to prove ourselves in terms of strength, in terms of availability, attractiveness, a skill level, the level of effort. We've always been. People say that. Some people would say, "I say that we're born with a desire to be needed." I've never believed that. I believe that was ingrained in us, and
Say it.
I believe that ties into a lot of what I saw in that dude King. I don't really know how old he is, but I know for me, growing up, while I was never a hood kid, I was a soft kid with a terrible temper. I wouldn't swing on you, but I would pop off on you, and that's not something to be encouraged. At least I wouldn't encourage it now. But but back then, that was my strength. If I was being attacked or targeted a certain way, I would pop off on somebody. I would stand my ground, scared but angry and pissy. I don't really know if I would ever swing at you, but I would swing. But I would yell at you. I yell at you and raise your voice and shut the whole thing down. I get in trouble for it, but that's what I would do. But a part of my issue with that is that we have been trained by so many different things to display strength in the hope that it will get us respect and get people to leave us alone. And I feel like sometimes, like even me, like I saw it around me, and while I didn't necessarily care for the thug part of it, I feel like in some ways I latched on to the idea of strength for us as boys growing into men, being seen through aggressiveness and the stoicism and just being hard, not being soft. Even growing up myself, like a lot of my childhood and teenage years growing up was me being told, stop being soft. You acting like a female. So not only are you making females out to be a lesser form, but you're also making me out to be a lesser by comparing me to a female and telling me that my emotions are too much. See, the thing is, boys aren't taught to control their emotions. They're told to control it. They're not taught. They're told to. So boys grow up.
Wow.
So boys grow up being told to control their emotions, and they don't because they don't know how to. And then they go through school being different, see these other dudes who are respected for acting a certain way that is reflected in our media or our culture or our society. And they think, oh, I need that to be strong. For me growing up, I didn't want to be a thug, but I wanted to be the big, strong, militant, stoic dude who nobody could mess with. I didn't want to be muscular in high school to be attractive. I wanted to be muscular in high school so that I could be strong. And so I had this fixation on masculinity growing up that like, oh, I need to be this big, strong man who doesn't back down, who can handle himself, who controls himself, and all this other stuff. And it's just like Pat Stuck said it. I said it pretty well, and I'm gonna jump back over to the other camera. But he said it pretty well. You have to instill a healthy sense of identity in these boys from a young age, and that includes teaching them about what healthy masculinity is, which is balance in terms of emotions and who you are, having a good sense of self, and a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
I kind of went on
No, but you bring up a good point. I mean,
Daddy, you did it.
Yeah,
He did.
That's a good point. I'm gonna come back on. I'm gonna address a couple of things you brought up because I think that ties right into the conversation. I'm gonna get a couple of these comments before we go to break. Kimberly said T.I. and Tiny created that Frankenstein. They allowed him to live with his grandmother because he would have temper tantrums if he stayed home. When you're used to getting what you want, no is harder to hear. Interesting. Carol Chisholm said, could it also be that most girls like that bad boy image so it propels young men to act hard to attract the opposite sex? I fully agree with you, Carol Chisholm. Kimberly also added, I dated a thug my sophomore year in college just to upset my dad. Really, Kimberly? Really? See, I didn't want to want that life
Shame.
at all. But then when he said no, I said yes. Crazy thing about that situation is my brother came and got me from the guy's house hours before he was arrested. Wow.
The Lord watching over you.
All right.
Let me give you two quick things before we hit break.
Go ahead.
First, your mama said you need to state she was married and your father chose to run away, and that's why y'all lived in the projects. She said she wanted the record to be clear.
Okay.
Yeah. And
she was.
Yes. That's right, Mama Ward.
She right. And I'm gonna drill down that when we come back. Let me get a break in, and we'll come back. And I got some more promos to read too when we come back. There it is,
and
y'all.
Then I got a scripture I want to add to Jalil's comment when we get back.
There it is, y'all. Hey, family, I think we got a good conversation going here. Do me a favor, y'all. Call your mama, call your daddy, call your auntie, call your cousin, and let them all know that the Akintunde show is on.
One of the best stories that I have in satisfying one of our clients happened just recently. We had a young lady that did a family reunion for, and then they came back and placed a reorder. Now, when they placed the reorder, we could not get everything done in time. Well, we had to pull a lot of strings, make some things happen, work a little bit late, but it worked out where we were able to get the t-shirts printed and out for delivery. That's the things that we do for our clients, and we want to do that for you as well.
It's easy to become frustrated when ordering branded products and apparel, but P&B Promotionals is here to help ease those frustrations with their over 800,000 promotional products and apparel. Whether screen printed t-shirts, embroidered polo shirts, stadium cups, umbrellas, or mugs, P&B Promotionals has just what you need. Log on to pbpromotionals.com and start your order now. That's pbpromotionals.com, or send an email to info@pbpromotionals.net. info@pbpromotionals.net.
Imprinting the best for less. P&B Promotionals.
Greetings. I am Darrell Presley, owner and operator of Presley Cares Mortuary Services of West Columbia, South Carolina. Our mission here at Presley's is to provide excellent, quality, superior funeral service to all, regardless of economic status, religion, or race, with our society being embedded with a diverse class of people. Our staff here at Presley's pledges to offer only one class of service, and that is superior. So rendering professional services to the families that call upon us is not an option, it's mandatory. Presley Cares Mortuary Services, where we are caring for you and your loved one.
Stop walking in front of the prophet.
Yeah. Want a better way to make your money grow than is potentially better than a 401k or a CD? Consider the Gold Standard Group, banking on the blockchain. Learn more about blockchain banking by reaching out to legacy wealth builder and asset acquisition specialist, billionaire Keisha Walker. With so many banks failing and changes in the marketplace, now is the time to get more information. Text CONTROL to 803-312-2873. That's 803-312-2873. Text CONTROL to Keisha Walker and the Gold Standard Group to get more information about that. One of our great sponsors this year on the Akintunde show. Listen, we're talking about it, y'all. Subdivision thugs, circus lions, all of that. And this need to appear in front, act, and be regarded as hard today is very much pervasive in culture, and it's I think we're coming to a point where I think I don't know if it's bubbling up, you know, and we're trying to rep something that is becoming acceptable. There's something that used to be an undercurrent. There used to be something that wasn't so, you know, folks weren't so proud of. You know, now it's becoming celebrated. And it's in the long term effects and implication of it, we're seeing it. We're eating the fruits of it in our families. I may not be talking about you personally, but overall, as a culture, we are. My mom said something key in the comments. We were living in the hood because, watch this, my father abandoned the family at 7 years old, left her to have to cover the entire expenses, the entire responsibility of raising 2 young boys on her own, and then my little sister. Now that whole situation could have been avoided by quality manhood remaining in the household, but that's not what happened. So that in those are several times these type things happen, and then people don't realize and recognize why that happens. Y'all excuse Don is.
I had to get up.
Don didn't even put up the church finger.
Nope. I thought I was you were on the full screen yourself. I was like, let me sneak up here because my computer became unplugged.
Oh, that's funny.
But I'm back.
Don didn't even put up the church finger.
Live
We
TV.
got to find the history of that. I want to find the history of the church finger.
The church finger.
The first church finger.
You know.
Yeah. The history of church finger is slavery. When the slaves went to church with the master was sitting down, the slaves were sitting up top, and if they wanted to go to the bathroom, they had to put a finger up to be able to tip
So
out.
they know where they were going. That's how you know they weren't trying to run away while church was going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
They
that's
had
the
to
church
pick up his
finger.
rifle.
the history of the church finger.
Yeah.
Okay.
The unfortunate history of
right.
the church finger.
That's right.
But you know, this whole notion that you have to be something that you're not, and or you're trying to adhere to a standard that's not the standard of your family or the standard that God set for you.
Watch this out. Watch how crazy this is now. Couple of things. First, Jaleel was talking about proven manhood, right?
Yeah.
And that all these young men want to prove themselves, and how you're picking these things. He was talking about how you wanted to be strong.
Yeah.
The scripture says this over in 1 Kings. David's talking to Solomon. He's about to die.
Yeah.
He says, I'm about to go the way of all the earth. Be strong, therefore prove yourself a man, and keep the charge the Lord your God to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commands and his judgments and his testimonies as written in the law of Moses. So the Bible actually defines what proving manhood is.
Yeah. Right.
What being strong is. But look at how the world has tried to redefine it.
Right.
And the crazy thing is how backwards the redefinition is, because look at this. We're saying that manhood is acting like being in the hood. And you just said by your own testimony, the only reason you were in the hood is because a man walked away from his responsibilities as God has given.
Exactly.
To cover his household.
Yeah.
So now, because you're in an environment without a covering, you now have to grow up and cover yourselves.
Right.
And so, watch this. This is a abnormality. This is a dysfunction that has been created by a man not actually walking in manhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we have now deemed this to be the pinnacle of manhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dysfunction that has come out of dysfunction.
Right. Here's what's interesting about that. And this is why you have to address, I believe, what's going on in music and culture today in a holistic, straightforward way, because this is what's interesting. For me, it was not a rite of passage, but it's something that I had to deal with. Just be honest with you, when you grow up in particularly a true project hood environment, it's a dog eat dog type of world.
Yeah, it's a hostile environment.
It's a hostile environment. You have to scrap. If you don't know how to fight, you got to learn how to fight. So there's some things I had to learn how to do that wasn't necessarily what I was going looking for. Just keeping it real, right? But I will say this about culture today. Interestingly enough, is that's something that I had to address and deal with in my own household, particularly with my oldest son, trying to rep something that he was not and never was. Now, mind you, he grew up with a father in the house. He grew up in a Christian household. He grew up with where we had family meetings where we would meet and talk and sit down and talk about our family values. He grew up in a household where he had access to tutors. He had access to a good church family environment, right? Never was it ever celebrated, articulated, or represented any type of drug culture, weed culture, alcohol culture, any of that. But yet, those are things that he pursued. Why is that relevant today? Because I know a lot of parents who are dealing with that. The reason why I want to talk about this conversation from a and not so much talking about the T.I. and Tiny situation, because this is a current situation that I have a lot of conversation with parents on, in and out of church, in family and out of family, people I just come into contact with. A lot of parents today are talking about, like, I don't understand what's going on with my son. I just don't get it. And these are parents, again, these are families that have access to a lot of educational, financial resources, right? But still, this culture is drawing young men to act out in a certain way. So it's, again, that's why I mentioned the whole thing again. T.I. and Tiny situation, or this Kane situation, is just a bigger part of a small part of a much bigger, broader culture that must be addressed, a bigger issue that must be addressed. Now, again, you got to know how to root it out. You got to know how to address it, and you got to know how to go hard with it. And you cannot be passive with it, and you cannot play with it. And if they continue on that way, you let them deal with the consequences of their actions, particularly if you haven't taught them that, you haven't shown them that, and you have not been, as a parent, derelict in your duties. But it is something that is consistent and pervasive, and I think we must address it head on, not play with it, not pander to it, and really figure out why this is so pervasive, why this is such a stronghold for our community with our men.
Well, they're looking at that shiny ball, and it looks different than what you have over here, what you've been taught, what you've been learning. If you can't stand in that, as a man, as you grow from a boy to a man, I think the shiny things over here that are false and are fake, but they look good, they draw you in, and that's what the enemy's plan is: draw them in by whatever means necessary. So if you're not, because we each have to take responsibility for ourselves at some point,
right?
You know, so. Your parents do the best they can. They raised you, like you said, you had resources, you had everything is there, just like for King and for other people, for other young men, everything is there. But you find them turn. I'm going to Star Wars. The Force is strong. The Force is strong within you. Skywalker. You know. So but if the Force is not strong within them, they can easily be swayed, easily be turned, easily be manipulated, because it is great manipulation on the enemy's part. And sometimes you don't have to do much to make it that way.
You know, interesting that point. You say that. I know for me, it probably could have went different. But I know for me, one thing is that I saw clearly what I did not want. I didn't want to have to fight all the time.
Right.
I definitely, for me, prison was a jail. Prison was a absolute no. Oh, heaven no. Oh, no, absolutely not. We're not doing that. And if this leads to jail, then we don't have to worry about that. Oh, you mean to tell me if you go to jail, somebody might try to have sex with me, a man? Oh, no, sir, you got to worry about that. I'm good. I'm good on drugs. I'm good on thugging. I'm good on robbing. I done been around people. Oh, we about to go do this and we about to go do that. Take me to the house, player. No, sir. No, drop me off. I catch a ride home. I'm like,
the car, though.
Right. I'm Ricky and boys in the hood.
Get out.
Pull over, though. I can't do it. I can't do it. Go ahead, Pastor Tucker. I'm going to y'all comments. Y'all got
it's the fact that the generations today are more influenced than ever. I don't know if you saw the reel I sent y'all the other day, but it's a guy talking about and I know we own these platforms, so they might trigger, but talking about these sexualities and genders and things
Yeah.
that are going on. He was asking a young man, he said, would you rather be in a school that teaches prayer? You would have your kids in a school that teaches prayer and teaches them about God or whatever, or about gender stuff. He was like, I don't know. And
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, really? And then he asked me, he said, so you're in investing. He said, yeah. He said, how'd you get that way?
Yeah.
He said, I watched a video and, this, that, this. He said, so you were influenced.
Yeah. Yep.
He said that he talked about the statistics as far as the gender confusion based on the generations. And he was talking about the older generation, how small it was. And then the next generation, he was talking about how big the percentage was. It's almost 30% in the current generation. And he said, because they're the most influenced. He said, you were influenced that way.
Right.
He said, the same way you were influenced to start investing, you were influenced this way. And that's the thing, this influence, that's why we go so hard about media, arts, and entertainment.
You gotta control this stuff.
My church channel, the Warlock Family Media Group, that's why we go so hard for this, because the kingdom does not realize that the war is being fought for influence.
Man, let me tell y'all something. I cannot tell you. I get emotional thinking about it, because I cannot tell you the warfare that we've had over the past 2 years, rolling out this studio, maintaining it, keeping it open. And God said to me not too long ago, he said, never forget that the fight that you're fighting is not about you. It ain't about money.
The battle is not yours.
The battle is not yours. He said the enemy pursues you because you refuse to compromise. I done turned down a lot of sponsor dollars. I done turned down liquor money. I done turned down writing jobs. I done turned down writing jobs for TV shows. I could just went and got me a silent few dollars, and y'all would have seen my name maybe if you'd have looked hard and watched at the end of the show. And I said, nah, y'all keep that money, player. You can keep that. My soul can't allow me to go and create that nonsense right there and sleep good at night and come back to my children and my wife and get up and go to work the next day. Yes. I can't do it. And so when you have and that's why the enemy tries to attack content that represents God, that represents kingdom. That's what we fighting against. And so that's why the kingdom has to start utilizing these platforms. We got to start utilizing content. We got to start utilizing these airwaves. We have to start utilizing the internet. We have to start utilizing social media. We have to start utilizing audio content. We have to start utilizing tools that can battle the forces of demonic and evil and represent Christ and promote Christ to our young people, to our children, to our community, to our wives, to our mothers, to our daughters, to our sons, to our fathers, to our husbands. Because the enemy is playing dirty games with social media. And then we sit by oftentimes in the kingdom and act like we don't have to participate in that. Oh, I don't do that. I don't do social media or that whole internet.
Right.
And your kids sitting around watching folk talking foolishness, giving relationship foolishness, whether it's lifestyle foolishness and everything else, and they call themselves influencers, and they sit there watching them on them $900,000 phones that you pay for.
Exactly.
And then you wondering what's wrong with your kids.
Right. But that's the thing that the enemy, I feel like the enemy is doing. It's his planned attack on these young people. Yeah. Because he sees the light within a lot of them.
Yeah.
There is a bright light, and he has to destroy
from the beginning.
Exactly. So he's out there, but it's so, it came so subtly, and it's coming through technology. We're going to do it like this, and we're going to make your life faster, easier, and better. And we're going to make you don't have to work as hard, and you don't have to do this, and life is going to be a bowl of cherries for you if you do this, you do this, you do this. But they're leaving out the part of reading the Bible. They're reading out the part of having that one-on-one interaction and relationship with God for yourself. For yourself. They're leaving that part out. And until the young people can get that instilled in them, and like we were just talking about earlier, knowing who you are, standing on your platform, and knowing who you are, standing flat-footed and not turning, and not being influenced so much by social media, but influenced by what God is telling you to do. Then they're going to be lost. And not only just young people either, us old dogs out there too.
Let me tell you something.
Uh-huh.
You mentioned
we
that.
leading the young dogs.
But and we talk about a lot of times more or less from a relationship standpoint. But again, we're fighting against the influences of a culture that celebrates nonsense and foolishness.
Exactly.
And we prop this up as a way as a standard in our community. And other communities don't do this. Other communities don't do this. But again, when we come back, y'all, we're going to continue this conversation. When we come back, I got my brother, Ronnie Grant, who's been waiting and to get into this conversation. I want to get Ronnie's thoughts on this. And really, let's continue this dialogue. I'm going to read a couple comments as we go out the break. Kimberly said, my pet peeve is parents dressing their babies and toddlers like thugs. I saw a little boy no more than 4 with big pants and Tim's shirts. His shirt was big. He could barely walk or run because his clothes were so big. That's parents doing that type of stuff. Leon is agreeing. Right, Kimberly. Let me see what Keisha said. Keisha said some men who deal with abandonment issues end up overcompensating due to lack of self-esteem rooted in lack of identity. They had no father to demonstrate what being a man is, so they formulate their own image and often is based upon media portrayal of what's a strong man. That is so key right there. Because it's interesting you say that, Keisha. I can remember it was 2 areas that I had an issue with. One of them was my size, because I was a portly little kid. The second area was my complexion. And I remember my mama literally drilled down into me that one, you're confident. She drilled down to me that you have to defend yourself, and she drilled down to me that tell me you dark and you're a pretty black boy, you're a handsome black boy. There's nothing wrong with your dark skin. She would drill that down to me when people in my family was calling me black as an ace of spade. When girls would tell me stuff like you cute to be dark skinned. My mama gave me enough confidence to know that no matter what complexion I was handsome. And that may be a small thing to somebody, but that's a massive thing to a young man if you out here trying to represent that. And so what I'm saying is parents' representation, as well as instilling values and instilling and focusing on that self-esteem, is very key. We come back, y'all. Ronnie Grant joins the conversation. Come and sit to the table. Let's keep it moving, y'all. There it is, y'all. Come on, y'all. This is the Akintunde Show. Don't y'all move.
At my church, we help people get better by teaching them how the word works. And we want to make sure there is no excuse not to get the word. It's our goal to make all of our ministries accessible on every smartphone, tablet, PC, and television connected to the internet. So whether you're a man who needs some wisdom, a woman who needs some encouragement, or a couple who needs guidance, the My Church channel has just what you need. Simply search for the My Church channel on Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV, or visit mychurchchannel.org. You can also download the My Church on the Go app from Apple or Google Play App Store. Constantly on the move? Check out the Word at My Church podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Or simply download the Word at My Church skill on your Alexa-enabled device. But whatever you do, make sure to stay connected. See you soon.
Greetings. I am Darrell Presley, owner and operator of Presley Cares Mortuary Services of West Columbia, South Carolina. Our mission here at Presley's is to provide excellent, quality, superior funeral service to all, regardless of economic status, religion, or race, with our society being embedded with a diverse class of people. Our staff here at Presley's pledges to offer only one class of service, and that is superior. So rendering professional services to the families that call upon us is not an option, it's mandatory. Presley Cares Mortuary Services, where we are caring for you and your loved one.
All right, y'all, we're back. We're back, y'all. Listen, we got a great conversation going here, and I want to get my man Ronnie Grant, aka Geechee Boy, into the conversation. And you know, we are talking about this from a, you know, from the perspective of a young man. You know, we talked about King and just you know, anyway,
Jesus,
you know, from a conversation standpoint, you know,
yes, sir.
Anyway, from a conversation standpoint, you know, what's your thoughts? You know.
First of all, let me start saying, Geechee man. See, I went from
Geechee man,
Geechee boy to Geechee man. That's a big jump. I used to call myself
These
Geechee
are
boy.
the things that change boys to men.
Lord.
Oh,
Is that my brethren? Pastor
yeah,
Tucker?
look at the boy with that red on.
I know you was going to say something.
I know you was going to say something. Look at him with that red on. I told you, come on.
Father
over.
God, right now,
Come
please
Come on over.
make this red look like blue. Because I know Pastor Tucker was going to say something.
Come on
Come
over,
on in the room.
Come on over,
I
Geechee.
know he was going to say something.
Come on over, Geechee.
go ahead. That's your camera right there. Look at him through that camera right there, Ron. That's your
Come
camera.
on
Right
over, Geechee.
Jaleel, can we cut him off?
Come on over, Geechee.
Can we cut him off, Jaleel?
Here's what you got for Pastor Tuck. Pastor Tuck is he reps blue for the Cowboys, but
That's right. I know, but he ain't got blue on it. They see, I'm telling you. The whole time I'm sitting back there, I said, as soon as Pastor Tucker sees me, he gonna say something about this red I got on.
But you know what though?
Yes.
That brings a point though. That brings a point for what we laughingly joking about is Pastor Tucker is a Kappa, okay. Ronnie is a Sigma,
That's right.
okay. And you know the fun, wonderful, comical competition between the sororities. I'm sorry, the fraternities.
Fraternities, get it
and sororities too. Sororities too. But so in this case, we're talking about fraternities. But that brings to mind the male need, I believe, to be a part of something larger than yourself. Whether that's a sports team, whether that's church, whether that's a gang, whether that's a neighborhood, we are big on being a part of something that's larger than you. So, Ronnie, you know, we haven't had the whole full, you know, Ronnie Geechee Man podcast episode just yet. But
we ain't ready for that right now.
But I will say this.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot I think that you can add to the conversation from a manhood perspective, from a process perspective, from an exposure. Okay, you've been exposed to some things and seen some things and overcome some things. When you see what's going on with King and when you see what's going on with T.I., what's your immediate thought?
Foolishness. First of all, King ain't come from that, man. That he just acting out, man. And clearly, the time when he was being raised, he was with his grandparents, and Tiny and T.I. was going through whatever they were going through, and they basically, in my opinion, neglected the young man. But that kid, he just acting out. He needs foot to behind. That's all.
1-800 Uber Beats.
Yeah, he need Pastor Tucker Uber Beats. He needs Ruthie, my mother, counseling. I bring you in this world, I take you out.
Yeah,
that's what he needs.
Ruthie from the Chuck.
Yeah, that's all I need.
Yeah.
So while I was back then, this is what I did. I looked the word thug up, right?
Yeah.
The definition of thug is a violent, aggressive person, especially one who is a criminal. Now, I don't know too many people, if they knew the definition of this word, would call themselves a thug. Like, literally.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Now,
Nowadays they would, cause see they like that rep. They like that rep, Ronnie. They want you to think that that's who they are, but they ain't got the behind to carry that.
They don't. Not only that, it's the thing of sometimes we call them thugs, like we give them that label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, if that's who you say I am, then that's who I am.
Yeah.
But that's not who they are.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
Hold on, Jaleel. So just let me because we're gonna use this conversation. Jaleel, when you go to me, go to my one shot, go to Ronnie's one shot, and go to Pastor Tucker's one shot. Don't use the 3 shots so much. Go ahead.
I never call myself the thug. I mean, even though I've been doing some foolish stuff, I never call myself a thug. I never called myself any of those negative words.
Right.
Matter of fact, I didn't want nobody to know. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like living two lives.
Interesting.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like I didn't want nobody to know the stuff that I was doing. You know,
Wow.
I would be
Kept
up
that
here.
away from the crib.
Right. No, actually, well, when I came to school, like I was in school, I was in college with the Benedict, graduated from Benedict's, and you know, nobody really didn't know. You know, only a circle of people knew. You know, the foolishness, and then when we would go back home, you know, that's when we would, you know, do what we were doing. But at the same time, I didn't want nobody to know that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Do you think that is because of the times? The times were different, which dictated that you didn't want that to be something that was widely known, or you would be viewed that way, as opposed to today, where that might be celebrated today.
I didn't come from that. Yeah, my mother was a pastor's daughter. Like I didn't come. We stayed. I've been in church so long. I thought my name was church. I didn't come from that.
Wow.
So it was almost embarrassing to let my family know that I was out here doing the stuff that I was doing. And then when I got caught one time and you know got arrested, you know, what in the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh Lord, now my mama know. Now my family know.
So what caused you, if you didn't come from that, if that wasn't your environment that you were stuck in, then what caused you to gravitate and lean towards that?
Here's choice. Now before it was, I didn't understand, and this is crazy to say, I didn't understand that choice. Like I can blame anybody. I can say, oh, this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, it's choice. I chose to live that way. Nobody was forcing me. No, I didn't see anything that made me say, oh, this. I chose to do that.
Yeah.
And then once I understand choice, then I made a decision. Either you're going to do this or you're going to do that. No in between. And of course, if you try to play it, then you know you'll look foolish. And because on one hand you saying, okay, I don't want to do it. On the other hand, I want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Now you run yourself crazy.
Wow.
Choice.
Wow.
We choosing this foolishness. Choice. Point
Watch
blank
this.
period.
Watch this. You know, this is a funny thing because, you know, just like Ronnie said, I had two parents at home, and they didn't raise me to do a lot of the foolishness I did.
Right.
And so most of the foolishness I did, they never knew about.
Right.
I ain't bring that home. You didn't want that getting on them.
Right.
And so you kept that on the low. And then the other part of that is, if you was really about some grimy, you didn't want that out in the street.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Because that's called discretion. That's called wisdom and discretion, because you didn't want everybody to know what you was doing.
Yeah.
If you look at American Gangster, Frank Lucas didn't want you mentioning his name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so once again, it just shows the fact that you're not even about this, that you out here trying to tell everybody that's who you are.
So that said, Ronnie, when you know, being out there in the industry, you know, in the music industry, DJing, so you are you in radio, and you in clubs. So when you see what's happening today, because it seems to me that we done sped down the street in many ways concerning culture. What's your immediate thought about how we turn this thing around? How we dial it back?
Getting more individuals that really live that life and letting them know that that's not the life you want to live. Now, me getting into the entertainment was a way out. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. See, being in the streets, it was okay. I'm doing something to so-called take care of my family, which is another something foolish. How can you take care of your family? You get caught, next thing you know, you in jail for 30, 40 years. How you be able to take care of your family?
Yeah.
So it was opportunity. It was being in the situation. I got to shout out to my brother Moses, individual who gave me an opportunity to be a part of what
Mo.
he was doing.
What's up, Mo? Yeah.
And you know, it was getting the opportunity to being able to be in a radio station.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
Another brother of mine.
Yeah.
That's how we met.
B. Brown.
Radio.
Right. Yeah.
That was
do radio.
Coming from the streets to be able to have an opportunity to work at the radio station. It changed my life. Like I didn't want to go back out in the streets.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't want to be running from the police office. I didn't want that no more. I didn't want it. So once the door opened, I took advantage of the opportunity, and the sky's the limit. Like you see it, man. I'm, traveling the world, my brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I thought
that
I had to have the drug money to do that. And when we're being on the road with you, I had to spend no money. Look at God. Jesus.
Say it.
Look at God.
Hallelujah.
Let me say that again. I thought that the money that I was making in the street, that I would be able to travel the world and do all this crazy stuff, man.
Wow.
And been in a situation where I traveled the country spending none of my money.
Wow.
Look at God.
Wow. Look at God.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
But like I said, go ahead.
No, I just say, and it's funny too how, we talk about the people who, promoting this life and how people like you were talking earlier, Aka, how people brag about going to jail. Some of them folk that's bragging about jail, if you ask somebody who was in jail with them jokers walking around with crop tops and bow knots.
Yeah.
Look here. This I don't have to make up my life. If anybody who has an understanding, I don't have to make up my life. The first time I've been to jail, man, I cried.
Wow.
Yes, sir. I did not want to be there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that bologna looked like dead skin.
Yeah, that's what Bishop tell us. That prison ain't something you ever want to see.
Who gonna eat that? Bunch of grown men, man, looking hungry. And I ain't talking about food.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But the issue comes in and what we have to get to is how do we as men, as black men, as fathers, as husbands, as community leaders and community members, as pastors, as politicians, as artists, how do we change the culture? It just off the top of the head. How do we change the culture?
Of course, working together. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it is a yin and a yang. And then you got to understand it's a business, man.
Yeah.
Like people making money off of foolishness.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
big money.
The powers that be, the puppet masters.
Yeah.
They making money off this foolishness, man.
Yeah.
And then these artists, they especially the ones who know that they ain't living the life. This is entertainment. Like they'll tell you some of these rappers, they'll tell you, man, this is how I make my money. This is entertainment, but they don't understand the influence that they have on individuals. That literally, when these kids watching this stuff, they think this stuff real.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, some of this stuff, but all these, man, come on, man. This crazy. I'm gonna say this now. Watch this. I was talking to one of my partners the other day, right, and I told him, I said, man, in our community to individuals that it has an effect. Like they don't rap these songs and then see the kids who listen to what they do afterward. Like they hear something about disrespect. Yeah, they don't see this. They don't see that the music make them disrespect their parents.
Yeah.
They see it, right? They see it. They turn a blind eye to it because they don't allow their kids to listen to it.
Right. That's what I'm when I say that they don't see it. I'm talking about literally being there, seeing it. Like, okay, they doing the music and they watching this kid. They're watching the kid.
Yeah.
Listen to the music and then go to their mom and say, Mom, I heard this song and it says bump you and bump you, this, that, and the thing. Like literally being there, seeing it. Like, how would that change your mindset? Of like, man, I want to.
So when you see what D1 is doing, me and you was talking about this the other day.
Right.
When you see what D1 is doing, and you see the conversations that are now being had, the dialogue that's now being created because someone is calling the broader rappers to the rappers to the carpet on what they've been doing. And I will say this: the only reason I believe that it's even a relevant talking point is because of the size of D1's platform. He has broadened his platform and has expanded well past the quote unquote gospel Christian or clean rap genre, and now larger publications or larger platforms like A Sway in the Morning is carrying and giving him space to have that dialogue. I don't know whether that was deliberate or that just was a part of the conversation, which now Rick Ross is being called out on. So when you see that, do you think that that's going to result in some accountability and some positive outcomes within the hip hop community?
Of course it is. I mean, here's the thing: timing. God's timing is awesome.
Yeah.
So for D1, he's just being the individual being used to let it out, because you got conversations where Joe Budden's talking about, he got to be careful because he gonna get killed because he exposing stuff. Man, people been exposing stuff. Now it's D1 time to expose. Yeah. And you got a lot of individuals, man. If you go to his page, and you will see that they saying, "Kid, keep going."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like keep going.
Yeah, a lot of celebration of what he's doing.
Don't be ashamed to speak your truth.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Yeah.
And it is what it is. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You can't deny truth.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, matter of fact, he said something. He said, wait a minute, man. I'm giving away Meek Mill's shoes
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he talking about crime and not doing this and doing
Right,
that, but
yeah.
yet you talking about killing on your. He said, "Man, you know what? I can't support that. I
Right.
can't." And what's wrong with that? That's he telling the truth. Hey man, on one hand you telling me you prison reform, and now you talking about killing and murdering. Come on, man. I can't support that. He's wrong for saying that, man. Please, if he's wrong, well, go ahead. Keep.
Here's the crazy part of it. If he's wrong for saying that, that means we're in a much worse place than even we realize. And that's probably the truth as I'm saying it. Because when I see some of the stuff that we say no to and yeah to in our community, in our culture, in our families, and I'm just gonna come straight to it about it, particularly in the black communities, the stuff we say, oh no, you shouldn't say that. That's wrong. Don't do that. And the stuff we celebrate and say that you should say yes to, you should be honest about, you should be forthcoming, you should be truthful about, you live your truth concerning this, but on this side, this person has to be quiet. That's the ridiculous, asinine state that we have devolved into over time.
But the word says it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your good gonna look. What is it? Your wrong. Your wrong's gonna be right, and your
Good
right's
will
gonna
be
be
spoken evil of.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
The Lord gonna hand you over to your sins. Like that's real.
My God. Yo,
And what it all comes down to is the fact that people, even believers, there's so many believers that do not live a submitted life.
yeah. And you have to submit
we won't
everything.
Submit to God in our marriage. We won't submit to God when it comes to our kids. We will go to church. We'll read the Bible, but when it comes to actually submitting to God, there's certain areas that we want to keep to ourselves. And if God is not God of all, then he's not God at all.
Woo!
And those areas that you try to hide from God and try to keep to yourself are those areas that the devil can run rampant in.
Man, that's it. That's a quote right there. God is not God of all. He's not God at all. There it is, y'all. Stay right there, fam. We still talking. We got a few more minutes left. We're gonna try to get some more conversation. I really want to talk about before we go. I really want to talk about the reggaeton artist Daddy Yankee, who turned his life over to Christ and is denouncing everything. And this was crazy. I don't know who. I don't think I've ever heard of this brother. I think I've kind of heard of his name before.
I want to know where they getting these rap names from.
But here's the thing, Pastor Tuck, I looked at one of his videos. Let me check YouTube. Hold on, let me stop the music when I say this. I checked YouTube, found one of his videos. 8.3 billion views. And he's saying you can have all of that. I don't want my name. I don't want nothing. I'm living for Christ now. Listen, family. Speaking of living, the Wendy Mills Agency is a licensed broker specializing in senior health care and Medicare, as well as other ancillary products such as dental and vision. They also have other health plans and life insurance for all ages. Give my sister Wendy a phone call at 843-496-9735. Again, call Wendy at 843-496-9735. The Wendy Mills Agency, one of our great, awesome, and proud sponsors on the Akintunde Show. Don't y'all move. We continue the conversation, y'all. Hey, we'll be right back.
Greetings. I am Darrell Presley, owner and operator of Presley Cares Mortuary Services of West Columbia, South Carolina. Our mission here at Presley's is to provide excellent, quality, superior funeral service to all, regardless of economic status, religion, or race, with our society being embedded with a diverse class of people. Our staff here at Presley's pledges to offer only one class of service, and that is superior. So rendering professional services to the families that call upon us is not an option, it's mandatory. Presley Cares Mortuary Services, where we are caring for you and your loved one.
Stop walking in front of the prophet.
All right, y'all. We about to get up out of here. A couple things I do want to talk about before we leave, though. Again, got our special guest in the studio, Ronnie Grant. I think Donna was right. We need a wider table. We need a wider table so we can have everybody here for these certain conversations. I think certain conversations required will always stimulate more people. More thoughts, more dialogue. Let me get some more of the Clubhouse comments. And I'm going to get some Facebook in too. Leon Campbell said there's a difference between Bruce Wayne not wanting people to know he was Batman and Tony Stark announcing to the world he's Iron Man. One is discreet while the other deals in narcissistic behaviors. Interesting, Leon Campbell. Wow. Pop Earl said, my mom taught us to get an education so you won't have to look up to anyone. But don't forget your home training and get enough education where you won't be tempted to look down on anyone. Good Lord. That's a quote right there. Man. Wow. That's awesome. Kimberly Morgan said, this reminds me of the movie Baby Boy. Jody lived off with his mother and baby mamas. When his mom kicked him out, he was upset that he had to move on. Yeah, and then it's crazy what that is. Even Jody was repping hard and talking about that tough stuff. And then when Melvin yoked him up and choked him, and then it was this whole thing where
mama.
One of the funniest things, he was like, "You gonna choose him over me, mama?" It's this.
I had a moment like that.
Did you really?
Yeah, my mom's. I just got out of jail, right, and I came home. I'm gonna fast forward the story.
Yeah.
Make a long story short, I was at my mama's house when I got out, and my mom said, she said, no, I can tell you the situation that happened, but I'm gonna fast forward.
Okay.
Anyway, my mom called the police on me, right?
Okay.
I went to the door. I'm like, hey, what's going on? The boy said, you running grass? I said, yes, sir. The boy said, you got to leave. I look back, my mom behind me. She said, son, I can't do no more but pray for you.
Wow.
And I was upset.
Wow.
But I thought about it. I was like, wow, wait a minute. No, that's what my mom was saying, son, I can't do this no more. Like, that pressure, you going back and forth in and out of jail, like, I gotta get it to God. Like, man, you crazy.
And how many moms today would have made that decision? I think that was a quality decision.
It was.
Because what it forced you to do is take stock, take inventory.
Man. Look here, man.
I told you before, if there are no consequences, there'll be no change.
Love you, mama.
Wow.
Process.
Say that one more time, Pastor. You went out.
I told you before, if there are no consequences, there'll be no change.
Yeah.
I said you can't continue to short circuit somebody's process.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, y'all, this has been a good conversation today. I do want to talk about this again. Let me pull him up here because again, I had no idea who this brother was, and let me make sure because I want to make sure I state this properly. A reggaeton artist. Daddy Yankee. Is that his right name? Am I saying that properly, y'all? Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, Daddy. Yeah, I don't want to hit that YouTube, but yeah, this brother,
I would love to hear his I would love to hear his testimony, man. I mean, clearly, experiencing the whole being in this realm and then in this realm, it's like, man, I can testify.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's your testimony. That's my testimony. Again, of course, on Monday, my full podcast interview with Shanita Morris drops, and we're talking about even her transition.
I saw that. The snippet y'all had on
that.
Man, I can't wait to finish seeing that. Man.
We 2 hour and 5 minute conversation. I'm dropping the whole podcast, but we talk about a lot of things. She even talks about an incident that she had, a couple of weeks ago, even with our fellow comedian brother Griff, and their disagreement in some areas, and she was forthcoming. She even apologized from how some of that went down. Again, I want y'all to really get a chance to view her comments. So I don't want to paraphrase or restate what she said. But it goes back to, at some point you get to a point in your life where you make a choice. You make a decision. I can't do this anymore. It's not worth it anymore. And really, I think that's a great place to land on even today with the conversation. As we're talking about what's going on with the broader manhood today, and we talk about what happened with King and T.I. But what it really is without Christ there is no change. True change comes from Jesus Christ. And Daddy Yankee says he's devoting himself to Christianity after retirement. Jesus lives in me. Now, again, this is somebody who is huge.
Yes, sir.
In the Latino world, in the Hispanic world, in terms of music. I'm gonna read a little bit of this article right here. from USA Today said during his farewell concert Sunday at the Coliseo de Puerto Rico, the reggaeton icon revealed he plans on devoting himself to his Christian faith following his retirement from the Latin genre. The show capped off Yankees touring career following his 2022 La Ultimita Vuelto World Tour. Excuse me to my Latino family, my Hispanic family for messing that up. I'm sure I did.
Butchering it.
I'm sure. He said, my people, this day is for me the most important day of my life. And I want to share it with you because living a life of success is not the same as living a life with purpose. He comes down. Let me go down here more. What he said. He said, what good will it be for a man to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul? Yankee said, citing a Bible verse. That is why tonight I recognize, and I am not ashamed to tell the whole world that Jesus lives in me and that I will live for him. So he's not only moving away from his career and moving away from the genre, he's not even allowing himself to be called by Daddy Yankee anymore. Again, y'all, whether it was Mace, whether it was Kanye, whether it was Geechee, whether it's Ak, whether it's Shanita, there's something where you recognize that this entertainment world has nothing on my relationship with Christ. That this entertainment world don't change. It hasn't changed me. There's an emptiness in your soul. I've been there. When you're sitting in a hotel room and everything that you thought you want means nothing, and now you've been exposed to something better through Christ. I'm saying to y'all, that's really the change. That's what the difference is when you choose Christ. So, and we are over time, but you know, go ahead, Pastor.
This is the thing, it's not just the entertainment world. That's the problem. Most believers have never hit that place. People been going to church for years and have never gotten to that place where they decide, for Christ I'll live, for Christ I'll die.
Wow.
The Bible says he died so that those who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who died for them. Every one of our lives should be about him. And that's what I mean when I say get to a place of submission, where my life is what God says it is. And so, except when I got to the point where God told me to walk away from my job, I went to school for 4 years. I done lived out my car. I done did all of this. I done worked. I done built a career as an engineer. And God told me to walk away from it.
Come on.
Jesus.
I walked away from it.
Yeah.
And my life has got nothing but better.
Wow.
Because I do what he tells me to do. I do exactly what he tells me to do because I'm submitted to him. In my marriage, I've been submitted to him. In my kids, I've been submitted to him. God and I were talking about that this morning. I said, because so many times when we have conversations, I've heard you say it, I heard Pop say it, I heard different people say, talk about me being unique in my parenting and this. The only thing about me, it's not the fact that I've had something that other people didn't have. I made a decision that a lot of people don't want to make. And I've given God the throne and everything. Because when me and my wife got married, I weren't saved. She was going and she was closer to God than I was, but she wasn't submitted. But when I made a decision to submit my life to God, I did everything he told me in my marriage. I did everything he told me in raising my kids. I did everything he told me in my career. I've done everything he told me in my ministry. And so because of that, I get the results he tells me. And that's all that is. And every one of us have that same opportunity.
Same opportunity.
Yes, sir. Choice.
My God. Choices. Man, that's a word right there. Ronnie Grant, final thoughts, brother.
Man, hey, look, I appreciate what you guys are doing, man. And anybody there that want to be a thug, retire. Because they ain't giving away. They giving away them big numbers. Them not going home numbers. And when you get there, ain't no coming back, man.
Yeah.
If you want to be a thug, practice your crop tops and bow knots.
Y'all, we up out of here. Donna gave up the chair today, and Ronnie came in and blessed us real good. And I hope this conversation blesses y'all. We got to go. We are over time, but I think it was valuable. I think it was fruitful, and I hope that it sparked some thought. I hope that at some point, you and your children, your family, are able to talk and find some solace. And if you're a man and you are out here representing, following this culture, I hope you recognize that the road to hell has many pathways, but the road to God, to Christ, has one, and that is Jesus. Choose him and let him work out the details. Let him work out the rest. Hey, family, we got to get up out of here. We had a ball with y'all. Donna J is in the back. Jaleel is in the back. Pastor Tuck is in the house. Ronnie is right here at the table. And y'all are y'all. I'm me. We'll be right back here Tuesday live, family. Hey, call your mama, call your daddy, and let them all know we had a good time today. Hope it sparked some thought. This is Akintunde Show. We're going to see y'all when we see y'all. Peace.
Peace.